Another video, man. First of all, y'all hit that like button. Also, too, let me get this out of the way. My Instagram is cole.manxx. This is my Instagram right here, y'all. Cole.manxx. Y'all follow that, man. We finna get into it. 7 signs God is preparing you for a major breakthrough. You know, in this third dimensional realm, you guys got to understand that God is going to prepare you for a major breakthrough. You just got to be mentally prepared and also too spiritually prepared to receive the breakthrough that God gave you. And you got to have God's spirit work his energy in your life. All right, so let's get into it. Number one, God reveals his purpose for your pain. You know what I'm saying? And this is a sign that God's preparing you for a major breakthrough. Because when God reveals his purpose for your pain, his purpose is so you can find your purpose. You know what I'm saying? When there is no pain, there's no gain. No, a lot of y'all got to go through pain, you know, to gain consciousness of self. You know what I'm saying? We all got to go through pain. We all got to go through some sort of trauma to gain purpose of self, right? We all got to go through heartbreaks and all this type of stuff so we can have a purpose in our life, and also too, so we can acknowledge God and find God, right? A lot of people, they have to go through a lot of different things. This is why a lot of people have confessions, right? You know what I'm saying? That they tell the church, that they tell people, right, about what they went through to get to God. So when God reveals his purpose for your pain, what he's doing is he's shaping you and molding you to get you ready for that major breakthrough. You know what I'm saying? You know, we all got to go through pain through the break before we get through to the breakthrough. Excuse me, guys. We all got to go through it. All right. So whether if it's mentally or physically in this realm, we all got to go through something, you know, to get to that major breakthrough. But God he's preparing you, right? He's basically strengthening your mind. He's basically strengthening, you know, your heart. He's basically strengthening your faith, right? Your discipline, right? Which is acclimated to, you know, what you're going through. Your self-worth. That's definitely acclimated to what you're going through. So it all works in symbiotic connection, you know, when it comes down to God's preparing you for a major breakthrough. You know what I'm saying? God basically, I found my purpose through my pain. You know what I'm saying? No, I got a testimony. You know what I'm saying? That's my testimony. Through my pain, through my heartbreak, I found my purpose. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people have found their purpose through their heartbreaks. You know, but it shapes you and molds you. And what it does is, it's going to isolate you once you go through that pain, right? It's going to pull you back, you know, it's going to pull you away from the people, placing things in this third dimensional realm that serve you no purpose. Right? Because before, a lot of times, guys, before we go through that broken heart and before we find God and before we find consciousness of self and Christ consciousness, we basically be attached to this third dimensional realm. We be attached to the people, places, and things in this third dimensional realm before we find our breakthrough. You know what I'm saying? Before we find our purpose, before we find God, before we find self, right? Before we do God's will. You know what I'm saying? We have to go through something, right? Something gonna shake us and break us and make us. And what make us is God, right? Once we go through that breakthrough, once we go through that pain, you guys gotta understand that, right? So this is a sign that God's praying for a major breakthrough, guys. He reveals his purpose for your pain. All right, guys. Number 2, harmful things and people leave your life. This is another sign that God's praying for a major breakthrough. You know, harmful people and harmful things leave your life before God prepares you for that major breakthrough. You know what I'm saying? And the reason why God do this is because he got to isolate you, right, before he elevates you. And you got to give your life to God. You know, through salvation, you got to give your mind, right? God, you know, the Bible says meditate on God daily. You know what I'm saying? And cast your cares on him. And also, too, you got to acknowledge him in all of your ways. You know, and he will direct your path. Right? You know, God, he'll leave you nor forsake you. He'll be with you even to the end of your time. Right? If you acknowledge him and put him first. Right? So when he take away the harmful things and people from your life, this is a sign that God's preparing you for a major breakthrough. You know what I'm saying? He gonna take away your toxic people out your life, toxic friends, toxic family members. God gonna do this before He prepare you for the major breakthrough. You know what I'm saying? A lot of y'all don't understand this, but the reason why it seems like it seems like you're deviating from people, places, and things that you used to do is because God's gonna prepare you for a major breakthrough. And what God gonna do, He gonna open a door that no man can close, right? You know what I'm saying? It's gonna be rich people. It's gonna be people of wealth trying to stop and block the blessings that God, and haters that's trying to stop and block the blessings that God gave you, right? But they're not gonna be able to stop it. They're gonna try to gatekeep. See, it's a lot of people that's rich in this world. It's a lot of people that's financially well off than you, and they're trying to gatekeep. You know, they watch you. They trying to control who get power, who get you know, who gets control, who gets all this type of stuff, right? Who gets materials, right? But the spiritual, you know, when it come to God, you know what I'm saying? No man can stop God, right? You know what I'm saying? So whatever they try to do, you know, what God got for you is for you. They can't stop that. They can't block it. You know what I'm saying? What God gonna do is God gonna reveal to them His wrath for trying to gatekeep. And a lot of people that gatekeep, guys, they're connected to the demons. They're connected to Satan. They don't want to see nobody else win. You know, they jealous and envious of you. These are the people that's trying to gatekeep, guys. The one that's scouting you out, right? They're gonna scout you out. You know what I'm saying? They gatekeeping. They praying on your downfall. You know what I'm saying? But they praying to Satan. They open and praying that you don't win. They open and praying that you don't make it. They open and praying that you don't do better than them, right? Because they're secretly in competition with you. They're jealous of you. You know what I'm saying? But God, you know what I'm saying, He'll hold no good thing from you. You know what I'm saying? God will hold no good thing from you. So everything works in a symbiotic connection. You know what I'm saying? You just got to connect yourself with the Most High. And you got to keep that faith. Keep that spiritual faith. Keep that spiritual discipline. Right? That comes from the Most High. You know what I'm saying? Because, like I said, a lot of these people that's connected to Satan that's trying to gatekeep, they're mentally shattered and emotionally fractured. Right? You know what I'm saying? Hurt people try to hurt people. Right? They're trying to harm you, to stop you from getting that breakthrough that God got for you. But, like I said, God got His hedge around you. That's what they don't understand. No, it's all spiritual, right? God got His protection, His divine protection around you, right? So you guys got to understand that, man. No, so, and harmful things. When it comes down to these harmful things that God's praying for a major breakthrough, that He's going to take out your life, that you're going to deviate from, bad habits, smoking, drinking, right? Watching nasty videos, being around toxic friends, being around toxic family members, overeating, right? A foul mouth, always, always cursing, you know what I'm saying? Always thinking negative, always putting yourself down, negative self-talk, right? Low self-esteem. You know what I'm saying? Low vibrational thinking. Like God's He's gonna deviate you from this. You know what I'm saying? So He can come in your life, because God cannot dwell in an unclean place. God doesn't dwell in an unclean spirit. You know what I'm saying? So you guys got to understand this, man. All right? So this is something that God's praying for a major breakthrough. Number 3. Excuse me. Tests come one after another, right? When the tests come one after the other, you guys got to understand, man, that this is something that God's praying for a major breakthrough. God's going to constantly test you, right? Before He bless you. This how it is, guys. Excuse me. God's going to always test His chosen ones, right? Before He level you up, every new level there's a new demon. Every new level there's a new hater, right? He's going to test you before He move you up to that next level. You know what I'm saying? Just see if you're ready. You know what I'm saying? So you got to pass that test. How you pass that test, guys? By putting God first. Allowing God to lead you and guide you into all truth. Allowing God to direct your path. All right, guys? So this is something that God's praying for a major breakthrough. Excuse me. Number 4. It's kind of stuffy in here, but anyway. This another sign God isolates you. This is another sign that God's praying for a major breakthrough, guys. When God isolates you. You know what I'm saying? When God isolates you, like I said, he's going to isolate you first and he's going to elevate you. Right? You know what I'm saying? And God, he chastised those whom he loved. So when he isolate you, you know what I'm saying? If you're doing stuff that you ain't got no business doing, overeating and all this type of stuff, having this idle mind, God gonna chastise you. You know what I'm saying? He gonna mind you to get on your purpose, stay on your purpose. But this is something that God's praying for a major breakthrough. He gotta disconnect you from a lot of people and places and things that's distracting you. You know what I'm saying? You thought those people was doing you some good. You thought those things was doing you some good, but really, it was destroying you. You was destroying yourself by putting your energy towards those low vibrational people and places and things in life, guys. All right? But this is a sign that God's preparing for a major breakthrough. He's going to isolate you first. All right, guys? Number 5, God gives you more discipline. This is a sign that God's preparing you. Hold on, guys. That God's preparing you for a major breakthrough. God's going to give you, I had to cut on the, the fan, but anyway. You know, yeah, I got AC. It get real hot in Florida. All right, guys. But God gives you more discipline. This is another sign that God's praying for a major breakthrough, guys. When God gives you more discipline, that means that it's time you got to be on go mode. You got to fight through it. Let's say if you're going to college, right, and you're working a regular job, you got to fight through that to get your major breakthrough, right? Because this how it all happens, guys. You know, you gotta go through wherever you gotta go to elevate, to get to where you need to be at in life, guys. All right. So this is a sign that God's preparing you for a major breakthrough. God's gonna give you more discipline. All right, guys. So as God increase your discipline, that means that like spiritually you're gonna know something is coming. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna just have that gut feeling like, man, I need to do more. That's God, man. God telling you pursue your purpose more. You know, continue to walk down the path of righteousness more. Keep going, right? Because eventually you're gonna get your breakthrough. Eventually you're gonna shine. You know, eventually God gonna put you in your winning season, right? But you gotta put Him first, and you gotta make sure you're putting in the work. Because faith without works is dead. You can't put in a little bit of work and physically and pray, right? You praying. But you praying harder than you working. It gotta equal. You know what I'm saying? You can't be praying all the time, you know, because faith without works is dead. You could, like I said, you could pray, right? But what I mean by praying all the time is but not putting in no work. You know, money ain't gonna fall from the sky. Excuse me, success ain't gonna fall from the sky, guys. You know what I'm saying? You gotta put in the work, man, alright? So this is something that God's praying for a major breakthrough. Number 6, guys, people start hating on you more. This is a sign that God's preparing you for a major breakthrough, guys. People start hating on you more. When people start hating on you more, you guys got to understand that this is a sign that God's definitely preparing you for a major breakthrough. You know what I'm saying? They lying on you. You know what I'm saying? They're sowing discord. They're scandalizing your name. This is how you can tell that you about to make it. You know what I'm saying? When people start hating on you more, some of your family members, even your so-called friends, those not your friends. You know, they start, you know, they giving you backhanded compliments. You know what I'm saying? Doing all this type of stuff. You know what I'm saying? Hating on you. Because they know for a fact that your breakthrough is coming. Right? Like I said, you gotta ignore the haters. You gotta get to where you need to be. Right? So you guys gotta understand that, man. So when people start hating on you more, this is a sign that God's preparing you for a major breakthrough. They want you to stop. You know what I'm saying? They don't do and say everything to try to get you to stop. You got to continue to keep going. You got to know for a fact that you can do all things through the God that's within you. You know that for a fact. You know what I'm saying? You got to believe it. You know what I'm saying? And you got to put it into action. Right? But this is a sign that God's praying for a major breakthrough. When people start hating on you more, man, you got to let the haters hate. Because like I said, man, most of your haters, they below you spiritually. They had a lower frequency. They had a lower frequency than you. All your haters, not most of them, all of them. They had a lower frequency than you. They wish that they had the power that's within you. They wish that they had the God that's within you in them. But they have the devil that's within them, guys. So you guys can understand this. Understand this, man. This is a sign that God's praying for a major breakthrough. Number 7, you're mindful about Hold on, guys. I gotta correct something. You know, I ain't perfect. You're mindful about who you hang around. This is a sign that God's praying for a major breakthrough. You start to be more cautious about who you hanging around. You're like, man, I'm not finna hang around none no more. You know what I'm saying? They stealing, they scamming, they selling drugs, they doing low vibrational things. I'm not finna hang around them no more. You know what I'm saying? Because you know for a fact that you don't put in so much work, you're not gonna allow these demonic people to jeopardize your freedom, to jeopardize your breakthrough, to jeopardize your relationship with God, because you know you want to please them. Now you trying to please God. You know what I'm saying? This is a sign that God's praying for a major breakthrough, guys. When you start to deviate from people that's toxic on this third dimensional realm. You know what I'm saying? They all about drama. You know what I'm saying? They all about negativity, right? They always you know, saying something about, you know, somebody, right? You know what I'm saying? They always talking about bad news, right? They never say nothing good, right? About nothing. They don't have no purpose, right? I stay with people that don't have pretty much no purpose. Now, like I said, if a person don't have a purpose and they just saying what up to me, so I say what's up, right? I'm not no a-hole, right? But I'm saying my friends, we all got purpose. My brothers, we all got purpose. So I hang around people that have purpose, man. I hang around people that's like money. Like I said, you start deviating from people that ain't going nowhere in life. You know, there's so many people that's not going nowhere in life, guys. You know, they doing the same old thing, working jobs that they don't like, right? And they gonna do that for the rest of their life. But you working a job probably that you don't like, but you got a purpose for a plan B. You working on your purpose at the same time. That's the type of people that you need to be hanging around. People that got a purpose, like you got a purpose. You don't want to hang around a purpose. You don't want to hang around people that don't have purpose when you have purpose. Because what they do is they distract you. They be talking about everything except growing, elevating. You know what's like, guys? A lot of people that don't have purpose, they talk about everything that's negative, stuff that's happening on the news, stuff that's happening in the community. But it's always negative. Coming up with stuff, being delusional. Saying, I think this person is this. I think this person is that. But they don't even know. Right? Because they don't have a purpose in life. Or maybe they had a purpose in life, but they gave up on it. Right? Or they refuse to take opportunity. Like I said, you take opportunities, but they don't want to take opportunities. You know what I'm saying? This is a sign that, you know, you need to stay away from these type of people. You need to be around people that's taking opportunities, you know, taking advantage of opportunities that God put right in front of us. Right? Social media is an opportunity. A lot of people, they demonize social media, but social media can be a positive thing or a negative thing. It's all about how you use it. Right? So you guys got to understand, man, this is something that God's praying for a major breakthrough. You're mindful about people who you hanging around. Guys, I am mindful about people who I'm hanging around. I'm serious. Like, it's people at my job, somebody I can hang out with them and all, trying to get me to hang out with them and stuff like that. But I'm like, nah, man. You know what I'm saying? I have a purpose. You know what I'm saying? I don't have time to play around. I don't have time to play games. I don't have time to hang out, right? And a lot of times, a lot of people, like, they had a low vibration, like I said, on this third dimensional realm. You know what I'm saying? You got to galvanize who's connected to the Most High, who's not connected to the Most High. You know what I'm saying? And you got to deviate from these people. You know what I'm saying? Because they're stuck in a cycle. You know, if you have a purpose, and you know for a fact you know your worth, and you just keep taking you making progress, and you like to take chances, and you know what I'm saying, you like to grow, be around those type of people. Stop being around people that don't like to grow, that don't like to take opportunities. Like I said, they're stuck in a cycle, right? They're stuck in routine, but you're not stuck in routine, because you know for a fact that you can do all things through the God that's within you. You know for a fact, guys, that it ain't no limit on how successful you can become. You know what I'm saying? God said He don't want no good thing from us. He want us to prosper. You know what I'm saying? So if we got opportunities out here in this world, and you dealing with people that's not taking those opportunities, but you are, most likely they will end up jealous of you. You know what I'm saying? They gonna end up turning on you, right? They gonna end up saying so many different things about you that's not even true. So you guys gotta understand this, man. You gotta deviate from these people, but I hope you guys got some up out of this, man. That these are the signs that 7 signs that God's preparing you for amazing.